Yes, can you place yourself on record? Yeah, he's looking through the window. At some point, I'm sure he will join in. We still have other members that will be joining us. As you might be aware, today is Teachers' Day, and so there's a lot of activity that's affecting the roads around Parliament. So the chair and the other honorable members are somewhere in the vicinity but stuck on the roads.
Prefer to use the term transition minerals because it's very
Okay, that was Honorable Kasandwe. He was now trying to coincidentally. My name is Muvita Anakoka, Member of Parliament for Luena constituency. I'm sitting in for the chairperson who will be joining us shortly. Zambia Police Service Commission, we are in receipt of a presentation. We are in receipt of a presentation or your submission, but before you say anything, we would like to take this opportunity to clothe you with the immunity that members of Parliament enjoy. The implications of that immunity is that you are free to speak without any fear, because you are protected. So nothing you say here can be used against you in any court of law in Zambia. Conversely, if you say anything that is misleading, again the same law can be used against you. So it gives you immunity and then it opens another door. But in both instances, the idea is for you to speak truthfully as you make your submissions before this committee. I think at this stage we will invite you to make your presentation, and then thereafter members will interact with your presentations. Thank you.
Honorable Chairperson, I thank you for the opportunity accorded to me to present the budget analysis for Head 10, Zambia Police Service Commission. 1.0 Introduction. In the year 2026, the proposed budget for Head 10 is 26,717,988 kwacha, of which 15,545,954 is for personal emoluments, while 11,172,034 kwacha is for non-personal emoluments. The overall proposed budget has slightly increased from 26,546,388 in 2025 to 26,717,988 in 2026. The increase is 171,600, representing 0.65%. The 2026 budget, Honorable Chairperson, will finance the implementation of priority programs under 3 budget programs, namely governance and standards, human resource management, and management and support services. The programs will focus on the effective provision of human resource services to the Zambia Police and the Department of Immigration for a crime-free society and the smooth functioning of the Commission. This memorandum is therefore, Honorable Chairperson, meant to provide an analysis of Head 10, Zambia Police Service Commission budget performance during the period 2024 to 2026. In addition, it presents an analysis of the Commission's proposed estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 2026. 2.0 Analysis of the Commission's budget allocation for the period 2024 to 2025. Table 1, this is the 2024 to 2026 allocations. It provides us with the approved allocations for the year 2024 and 2025 and the proposed allocations for the year 2026. Table 2, Chairperson, is the allocation by programs from 2024 to 2026. I move to page 2, where we have the totals. For the year 2024, we had 24,929,728. For the year 2025, the approved budget was 26,546,388, while for the year 2026, the proposed allocation by program is 26,717,008. 2.1, allocation to governance and standards. This program, Honorable Chairperson, comprises 4 sub-programs: 1, standards, guidelines and regulations; 2, appeals and discipline; 3, records management, which is digitization of our work processes; number 4 is M&E. In 2025, there was a reduction in allocation to governance and standards from 6,715,421 kwacha in 2024 to 6,699,770. In the 2026 proposed budget, there is an increase in the allocation to the above program amounting to 570,000. This is due to the scaling up of the human resource management reforms. 2.2, allocation to human resource management. This provision will cater for human resource management, appointments, separation, compliance, and quality control. In 2025, there was an increase in allocation to HRM from 9,792,895 in 2024 to 10,262,553. In the 2026 proposed budget, there is an increase in the allocation to the above program amounting to 1,503,716 kwacha. The increase, Honorable Chairperson, is due to the scaling up of activities under this program, establishment of human resource management committees that will be processing some cases to be delegated to the HRMCs to ensure timely decision making and processing of cases for the Zambia Police Service and the Department of Immigration. 2.3, allocation to management and support services. This provision will cater for administrative support services. In 2025, there was an increase in the allocation to management and support services from 8,421,412 in 2024 to 9,584,085 kwacha. However, in 2026, there is a reduction amounting to 1,902,205 kwacha. The reduction is due to realignment of some activities to the human resource management and the governance and standards program. 3.0, performance of the 2025 budget. As at 31st July 2025, the Ministry of Finance and National Planning released 10,074,631 kwacha out of the total allocation of 26,546,388 kwacha, representing 38% release. Out of this amount, 4,354,798 was non-PEs, while 5,719,833 was for personal emoluments. Then we move to the tables which are showing the expenditure by program and the sub-program for the period under review. I'll start with the year 2024. For governance and standards, Honorable Chairperson, what was approved was 6.7 million and only 2.2 million kwacha was released, and our actual expenditure was 2.2 million. Then under human resource management, approval was 9.7 million, only 3.9 million kwacha was released, and we spent 3.9 million. Then under management and support services, Your committee approved 8.4 million. 3.4 million was released. Actual expenditure was 2.9. For last year, Chairperson, under governance and standards, you approved 6.6 million, and then only 3.3 million was released, and we spent 2.9. Under human resource, it was 10.2 million, 3.9 million was released, and actual expenditure was 3.9. Page 4. Under management and support services, 9.5 million was approved. The released amount was 2.7, and actual expenditure was 2.7. And then we have the totals. Then for 2026, the proposed allocation for governance and standards is 7,269,859. For human resource management, the proposed allocation is 11,766,249. For management and support services, 7,681,880, giving us a total of 26,717,988. Page 5. Table 4 is the expenditure by economic classification, Chair. Then I'll proceed to 4.0, adequacy of the 2026 budget allocation in meeting the set targets. In 2026, the Commission has a proposed allocation of 26,717,988, composed of 15,545,954 personal emoluments and 11,172,034 kwacha, non-PEs, to be wholly funded by the government. However, funds allocated to personal emoluments are not adequate, as the Commission has 8 approved positions that are not funded. This will adversely affect the effective implementation of our mandate. 5.0. How the 2026 budget allocation aligns with local and international priorities. Honorable Chairperson, the Commission is mandated to provide effective human resource services to the Zambia Police Service and the Department of Immigration for a crime-free society in order to enhance safety and promote law and order. Therefore, the effective and efficient management of human resource functions in the Zambia Police Service and the Department of Immigration will positively contribute to maintain safety and internal security of the country and secure borders to promote trade, tourism, and movement of persons. 6.0, constraints faced in executing the budget. The main constraint in executing the budget is the inadequate and irregular funding to the Commission. 7.0, measures put in place to address these constraints. The Commission, Honorable Chairperson, is resolved to continuously engage the Ministry of Finance and National Planning to timely release funding to the Commission. Further, we shall prioritize key programs outlined in our strategic plan, such as the scaling up of the human resource reform programs. 8.0, proposed variations of the estimates within the head. Honorable Chairperson, the Commission has no proposed variations to the estimates within the head. Then 9.0, Chairperson, the tables, we have the output indicators by program for the years 2024, 2025, and 2026. Table 5.1 is for governance and standards. 5.2 for human resource management. And then 5.3, it's management and support services. And under audit queries, our target is to have 100% target in terms of reduction of the audit queries. Basically, 0 audit queries, that's our target. And then we intend to develop one annual procurement plan and the budget. I therefore humbly request, Honorable Chairperson, the committee to favorably consider the proposed allocations to Head 10 for efficient and effective service delivery. Honorable Chairperson, I submit.
Thank you very much, Mission Secretary. And honorable members are now at liberty to seek clarification on the policy statement, on the budget statement that the Commission Secretary has made. Yes, Honorable Munduvila.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Sorry for coming late. I hope my question will not be something that he attended to earlier. Yeah, on page 3, when I looked at the approved budgets and what was released, it really painted a very gloomy picture, and one would have thought you would not actually manage to undertake most of your tasks. And when you go to page 6, table 9, 9.0, for instance, discipline, complaints and appeal, you actually managed to achieve your targets even when the provisions were so meager. So one would wonder, would you have overestimated what you required? You seem to have achieved your budgets, yet the allocations were way below what you required. Yeah, so when you're justifying a higher budget, we're wondering, because you were able to achieve with very little. Yeah, were they overestimates, or were your estimates maybe overly provided for in this particular case?
Thank you, the Honorable Chairperson. For appeals and discipline, basically this has to do with the sittings that we hold at HQ to consider the disciplinary cases that are submitted by command through the Ministry of Home Affairs. So basically we processed all the cases, but in terms of our key programs, especially in view of decentralization, we are supposed to establish the human resource management committees in all the police districts. Now, due to the erratic and inadequate funding, we are unable to establish and consequent to delegate some of our functions to these committees. So, Chair, the inadequate funds really hampered the smooth functioning of the Commission's mandate. I submit.
Honorable Kampiongo.
Chair, thank you so much. It's still on the issue that you are responding to. You know the difficulty we have here to help you and appreciate the constraints you are having. You must be consistent with your presentation. The picture you are painting on your key output indicators is in contrast with the funds that have been released. So if we ask you, where do you show us the clear picture of these performance indicators which have been affected by the inadequate funding as regarding looking at your table? Because for all we know, you have the police service, Zambia National Police, and you have got immigration. And ideally, you are supposed to be dealing with all the matters in all the provinces in any fiscal year. Now, if you give us a picture that your performance indicators are 100, target 100 is achievement. This is what we are seeing here. And, the only part is where you're talking about percentage of human resource capacity built. So, it becomes difficult for us to flow with you. On one hand, you have shown us a very grim picture, because if you look at the fund releases, clearly it points to like the Honorable was asking you, either you over budgeted and you were able to do all your planned programs within the money that was released against the budget. So it becomes difficult, Mr. Commissioner, as you sit there. So can you harmonize just from there so that we can interrogate you properly? This picture you are painting through your output indicators, program by program, which looks like very, proper. And how do you harmonize it with the funds that have been under-released? I submit, Chair.
Honorable Msamali.
Thank you very much, Chair, for the opportunity. Away from the money, I think the money issue has already been tackled. There is perfection throughout, in spite of you bemoaning inadequacy in funding. I would like to find out from the two secretaries and the Director Corporate Services, probably if you can enlighten the committee, the establishment of the Zambia Police Service Commission. Why am I saying this? You have tabulated figures there which is speaking to the personal emoluments and the non-personal emoluments. One, I would like to know the composition of these personal emoluments. When you are saying personal emoluments, you are speaking to what? Is it salaries or allowances or what? That's one. Besides the numbers of the establishment of the entire Zambia Police Service Commission. Why I want the establishment of the Zambia Police Service Commission is because I should believe that the Commission's mandate is to look at the welfare of the entire Zambia Police establishment and the Department of Immigration in terms of maybe employment, discipline, and human resource management. So maybe this is a mammoth task, looking at the Zambia Police itself countrywide, and also the Department of Immigration. Last but not the least, Chair, this is when I can come now to the question of money, which unfortunately you have already diluted, that you are able to perform your tasks despite you being inadequately funded. Do you think that the establishment of the Zambia Police Service Commission is adequate, if you have the numbers, is adequate to supervise the employment of the entire Zambia Police Service force? Or is it service now, as we are saying? It's now a service, it's not a force. And of course, the Department of Immigration. Your establishment, your I mean the personal emoluments, what they are related to, and if you are adequately staffed as a commission to perform your tasks every day today, tasks to the Zambia Police Service and the Department of Immigration. I submit, Chair.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? Yeah, Commission Secretary.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. On the issue of adequacy of the funding to the Commission vis-a-vis our output indicators, which are showing 100%. Chair, may I refer the committee to table 5.2 under Human Resource Management, specifically the HRMC capacity built as a key output indicator. Chair, on page 6, table 5.2 under Human Resource Management. The second line, Chair, you will notice that from 2024, our target was to establish the committees to be processing these cases in all the districts, but we only managed to achieve 30%. Equally, last year we targeted 100%, but we could only manage 30% to establish the committees. And this year, next year, 2026, we intend to roll out these committees in all the police districts, but the issue will be the adequacy of the funding. On the key output indicators for discipline, 100% processing of the disciplinary cases. As I earlier mentioned, these are sittings that we hold at HQ. So the ministry submits the cases, and we have managed to clear the cases because there's no significant resources required to dispose of the cases. But for the committees, you have to engage the stakeholders, the ministry, the police, all the way down to the districts. And if you look at the releases, the amount that were released for the year 2024 and 2025, they were far inadequate. Hence our submission, Honorable Chair. Then on the establishment, as the Honorable Minister indicated, that our full establishment is supposed to be 44, and we have a shortfall of 8 officers. And maybe with your indulgence, I'll request my Deputy Commissioner Secretary to just take us through the positions that need to be funded and the amount required to operationalize the full structure. With your indulgence, sir.
Deputy Commissioner Secretary, proceed.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, for the opportunity to make a comment. Well, in terms of the establishment, we have 2 strands. There is the commission. Now the commission has 7 members. We have the chairperson, the vice chairperson, and 5 members. Then for secretariat, currently we are sitting at 29. And the responsibility of secretariat is to provide technical support to the commission. Now, the establishment of the current establishment of our commission was approved somewhere around 2017, and from that time we have had piecemeal authority granted, and this is what has brought us to 29. But as we sit here today, for secretariat, we have 8 positions that are still vacant, which positions were also spoken to, I think, during the statement that the minister made. So these are critical positions. The amount involved in those 8 critical positions is 1.1 million, and then we would be fully operational as secretariat. So that is where we are. May I also perhaps speak to the difference between personal emoluments and non-personal emoluments, which was raised? Well, when we're talking about personal emoluments, we are talking about salaries. And this money doesn't actually come to the commission. This money is kept centrally by the Minister of Finance, because it's the Minister of Finance that releases salaries which go straight into our respective accounts. Whereas when we talk about non-personal emoluments, this is where we are talking about recurrent departmental charges or operational funds. It is from these funds where then we have money spent on allowances, including money that is spent for the administration of the office. I submit, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, DCOMSEC. Further questions? Honorable Kampiongo.
Thank you so much, Chair. Chair, take the commission slightly back to their core mandate. In terms of promotion, placements, confirmations, transfers, we are meant to believe that to deal with officers that are above discipline in the Zambia Police Service. Is that correct? Correct my memory. In terms of promotions, you only deal with officers that are above discipline, up to the chief inspector. Is that correct, so that I can frame the question properly?
Yes, Comsec?
The commission handles the cases starting from assistant superintendent going up, then chief inspector going down. It's the high command.
Yeah, so yes, I think then my memory is accurate. Now, you have talked about establishing these committees around the provinces, so that they can help you as secretariat to keep a tab on your officers and ensure that their matters, their staff welfare matters are handled. The status quo is quite worrying in terms of disciplinary matters, as you heard the minister here lamenting, and that this eventually gets to affect, because the morale of your officers matters most in terms of how they perform their duties. Demoralized officers certainly will not give you the required output. How are you budgeting for these committees? And isn't it the best time you considered that the police service allocates within their budget? Of course, I know that you fall under the office of the vice president. You are not directly under the ministry, but the work that you do is directly related to the Zambia Police Service and the Immigration Department. Isn't it time that these two units equally started allocating some funds within their budget lines to deal with some of the staff affairs, looking at the financial constraints that you are facing, so that you are able to do the tours that you are required to do? Even when you have got those committees, it will be prudent for you to make sure that you get to visit them in order for them to be, because the reason why you are put under the vice president is to offer proper kind of oversight, to avoid familiarity in terms of how you look at the staff welfare. So, isn't it time you thought of going to some arrangement where the Zambia Police Service allocates some funds towards this staff welfare that you undertake as the commission? And it's the same thing, because if you recall, the split, the correctional service is standing alone. Ideally, immigration should have their own commission in order to have effectiveness. But obviously we lessened the workload. So just share with us, because this scenario we are seeing year in, year out is not helpful. At the end of the day, the complaints among your officers is piling up. And then, as you respond to that, when do we see you come up with a functional system that keeps a tab on the officers? Because when someone is promoted from the chief inspector, the next rank is now above discipline, which is assistant superintendent. For one to move from that assistant superintendent to the highest rank, maybe of the commissioner and going up, is not predictable. So in short, it depends on the command and how the command relates with the commission. When do you start having a functional system that should keep, like similar to what the minister was speaking to, the system in the defense forces, where you have got structured promotion route, which also includes promotion exams, in-service training, and all that kind of arrangement. So as you respond, just speak to that so that we can benefit. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Honorable Kampiango. Now, Commission Secretary, use this opportunity now to clarify the role of the Zambia Police Service Commission in comparison to the role of the High Command make it clear and let the House understand and use this as a platform and opportunity to explain whether you have conflict or no conflict in your roles and how you'd want to reform and strengthen the system to ensure that you address the complaints that have been raised by members. Proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Very varied observations indeed from the committee. Honorable Chairperson, in the current legal and policy framework, the role of the Zambia Police Service Commission is basically to develop human resource guidelines, starting with the life cycle of our officers in the police and the Department of Immigration, from the time they are appointed, confirmed, until at the time we separate with our officers. Our mandate is basically to deal with policy as the Commission. The High Command, Zambia Police Service Commission, so the Zambia Police Service and the Department of Immigration, they are supposed to handle, deal with the day-to-day human resource cases, be it appointments, transfers, regrading, secondments. So for us as a commission, we are the apex body in terms of policy to do with HR for the police and the Department of Immigration. In between, we have the Ministry of Home Affairs, which serves as a secretariat. So the cases are processed by High Command and the Department of Immigration submitted to the ministry as our secretariat. They look at the recommendation and then we make the final decision as the commission. But in the current setup, Honorable Chairperson, the system is highly centralized. The commission does routine work. As you indicated, as you mentioned when we appeared with the Honorable Minister, we should focus more on providing strategic guidance to the command and the Department of Immigration, not handling, processing these files. Hence, Chair, our appeal that you support us with resources so that we establish these committees in all the police districts so that decision-making, processing of the cases for confirmations, disciplinary cases, if it's Mansa districts, the command should be able to timely and quickly process the cases without us, Honorable Chairperson, having to move from Lusaka, we go and camp in Mansa to clear these outstanding cases. It leads to these inordinate delays and you demotivate the officers. Confirmations, retirements can ably be handled by our officers in the police districts. Hence, Chair, our request that the rolling out of these committees to the districts be given the support that it requires by all the stakeholders. Maybe before I rest my case, I would request my Deputy Commission Secretary, in case you could have omitted anything, with your indulgence, Honorable Chair.
You may proceed, and I hope you are not picking the habit from the ComSec to bring the chair's constituency in the conversation to facilitate the comprehension of his explanation. But proceed, Deputy ComSec.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. First, I just want to talk about where the caveat is. Currently, the Inspector General of Police deals with appointments from constable up to chief inspector. And so, even in terms of promotions, it's the IG's office. So for someone to cross from this lower category, from chief inspector to assistant superintendent, that person must have done some work this side, but it is entirely up to the high command to do that. And that is where perhaps the human resource management committees become very key. And that I want to speak to the issue that the Honorable Kampion spoke about, where he compared what obtains perhaps in the defense forces to what obtains in the Zambia Police Service. In the defense forces, when it comes to promotions, they will look at cohorts, because people, there are mass recruitments that are done, and so they will exhaust this layer. If one is not found wanting, it means they will be rising in promotions. That has not been the case, and I want to believe it is because of the system. And this is where I still come back to human resource, because who is recommending, for example, the chief inspector now to move to the rank of assistant superintendent? Perhaps it is, maybe it's at district level, because at station level the person is assistant superintendent. Now then, we don't know what is being used there. Whether merit is assured or not, that we may not see. But then the blame cannot go to anyone, because we have allowed one individual at that level, say maybe the commander, is the only one that is going to look at this particular person and make a recommendation. This is where we are bringing the human resource committees, because this particular committee is going to be composed of people. Of course, there will be secretariat, which will be commanded by those who are in HR, but there are others in there, and so it is going to make them look at a number of files perhaps for them to be able to come up with one name. In other words, there's going to be transparency, there is going to be inclusivity, there is going to be assured merit in that manner. And this is why we are saying HRMCs is the way to go, because this is meant to bring transparency, inclusivity, diversity in the way that things are done. And I want to believe that even promotions will be following cohorts. If people entered in 2022, perhaps they will look at all the files belonging to that category. Those that have no issues then should rise. That is the intention of the commission going forward when this is done. And so, and that is the only way that we're going to make this functional. But where we leave it to the supervisors to drop a pen and then pick whoever, perhaps merit is not going to be assured in our system.
Well, thank you very much. I think those are important submissions. I'll take the last round of questions. Honorable Msomali and then Honorable Nakoka.
No, thank you very much, Deputy Secretary, for that elaborate explanation. I'll still take you to table 5.2 on human resource management on page 6, whereas you have done very well on the first row and column, which is Zambia, the police and immigration's confirmation cases processed, percentage of confirmation cases, whatever processed. Where you are lacking is where the one which is below, where you are failing to meet your actuals. You had 30 in 2024, and the subsequent year 2025 you also achieved the 30%. Actually, this is where my question, my last question, I don't think you have you did answer it adequately. So this is has got nothing to do with the financial resource, but human resource. Yes.
Well, thank you very much. Now, before you proceed, Comsec, let me recognize in our midst the presence of Right, Honorable Madam Speaker and the First Deputy Speaker, they are attending this meeting virtually. Madam Speaker, we welcome you and recognize your presence. Honorable Nakoka.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Much obliged.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, in our interaction with the Zambia Police Service Commission last year, one issue that became very clear was this overriding responsibilities between the Commission and the Zambia Police Service Commission Act, as well as the Command and the Police Act. So one of the issues that we suggested needed to be addressed very urgently is the amendment of either the Police Act or the amendment of the Commission Act, in order to make sure that responsibilities are placed where they should be placed. So we would like to know whether that matter is being actively attended to. Secondly, Chair, I now understand from the explanation that has been given why there is this 100%, because it is what it is. You are, for example, receiving complaints, and you deal with the complaint and submit your recommendation. From where you sit, that's resolved. The question is it fully resolved through the system? So give us an idea as to whether these cases you are reporting as resolved means that if this committee was to go to the individual who had an issue, we will find that the matter has been conclusively dealt with and closed. Or your report is sitting with somebody at the Ministry of Home Affairs and the individual still has the same problem, but you have cleared the issue from your desk. So walk us through this system so that we can understand what needs to be addressed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Rider from Honorable Kampiongo.
Chair, I would rather they respond first, because I've got, something to follow up with.
Proceed, Comsec.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. So, I'll start with the issue of ensuring that there is compliance, adherence to the directives that are issued by the Zambia Police Service Commission, especially grievances that are lodged to the Commission. So according to the Service Commissions Act, officers are free, they're at liberty to lodge complaints with the Commission when they are grieved, the prolonged stagnation in ranks. They do lodge complaints with the Commission, and the Commission sits to consider those cases and issues directives in the name and on behalf of His Excellency the President. So we convey to the Secretariat, the Ministry of Home Affairs. Then the Home Affairs now writes to the officers. So because of the erratic and inadequate funding, there is need, as you have rightly pointed out, that there should be follow-ups to ensure that there is compliance with what we have directed. So we find that indeed there will be variations in terms of the cases that we have cleared at the Commission and what is obtaining on the ground. Hence, in our submissions, we have highlighted that under governance and the standards sub-program, there will be need for us to ensure that we prioritize this sub-program so that High Command comply with our directives. Then on the issues of decentralization, why we have lagged behind, the key stakeholders in this process, we have got the ministry, we have got High Command, and then we have the Commission. So the concern from some of our stakeholders was that the police service, we don't operate like the civil service. We are somehow semi-military. So even as we are delegating these roles, some of these functions, we have to make sure that the command and control structure remains intact. So we have been engaging high command so that we all move at the same pace, and I'm glad to report that we have had engagements and we have made significant progress. Come next year, when we are given the resources, we should be able to move forward and set up the committees. I submit, Honorable Chairperson.
Well, thank you very much. Honorable Kampiongo.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe before I pose my last one, there was an area one that I posed to you regarding the proposal to have these police service and immigration budget towards these staff welfare issues. You didn't respond, so maybe if you can respond to that, then I can do my follow-up, Chair, with your indulgence.
Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. So the Human Resource Management Committees must indicate that they will be modeled on similar lines that the HRMC under Civil Service Commission or Local Government Service Commission, the way they operate. So our expectations is that Command and Immigration Department, they will set aside funds under Human Resource Management to ensure that they are able to process cases. So in terms of day-to-day operations, we are not talking of significant amounts for them to sit and hear these cases. Ideally, they should be sitting on a monthly basis. So we expect that they will allocate resources to the HRMC committees to operate effectively. I submit.
Honorable Kampiongo.
Thank you so much, Chair. Following up on the explanation that came from the Deputy Secretary there, I would like to know which budget line are you now allocating the resources to these committees that we're establishing, and how many have you done so far? Then I can do a follow-up, last one.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable Kampiongo, your mic.
Well, the last time that Human Resource Management Committees were constituted by the Zambia Police Service Commission was in 2022. In the Zambia Police Service, seven Human Resource Committees were constituted, whereas in the Department of Immigration, 2 were constituted. Now, from that time, we stopped because there were certain matters, technical matters, that needed to be cleared in view of what the COMSEC actually spoke to, where there was a mention that these are security institutions and therefore certain things could not be done. And I think the Secretary to the Cabinet has now guided that going forward, those matters I think have been resolved, and we should be able to move in that direction. So in a nutshell, only 9 human resource committees were created, 7 under the Zambia Police Service and 2 under the Department of Immigration.
Yes, Honorable Kampiongo.
Chair, now my final submissions. Of course, that is a lot of work to be done. Chair, if you want to understand the importance of those committees they're establishing and